Hey, Moondog here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Jetbeam keychain-sized EDC light. Now this is one of many new micro EDC lights that are literally keychain-sized and that have been just popping up everywhere. And this sort of sea change, this new class of EDC lights have just been coming out because of the progress in both battery and LED technology that allows this sort of micro-sized EDC lights that can output as much, if not more, than AA EDC lights just a few years ago. And this one was sent to me by my friend Stick on the East Coast, and he uses one of these at work. He works for the subway system in New York City, and he swears by this, so I'm going to test it out, see if it actually does output 500 lumens as it claims, and we're going to see how well it actually works. So let's open it up and get started. Alright, so packaging, nothing to write home about. It is as your standard clamshell, but at least it's not fully sealed, so you don't have to pull out the shears to open this up. And, oh, interesting. The packaging is also sort of your user manual, so to speak, operation. It does come with a little keychain O-ring, though not quite big enough to actually put keys on. This is more to attach this to your keychain, I suppose. Though I don't know why you wouldn't just attach it directly. But well, anyway, let's pop this out and see if it actually is working. Yes, it actually is. So we will give this a charge first before doing any actual testing with it. But I just wanted to see if this was charged or if it had any sort of blocking device. Interesting. Okay, there we are. Anyway, before we get messing around with this thing, let's give it a full charge. There is a little dust cover port for your USB-C port there, so we'll be plugging that in and charging it overnight before we begin our tests. So let's get started with the recharge. I charged the flashlight overnight and ran it for 30 seconds to warm up its battery chemistry, and I'm setting it to its brightest mode for testing. And as you can see, this testing rig is not a NASA-designed scientific instrument, but it did calibrate it to a known 100-lumen lamp. And it's already dropping, but let's just say it's 75, so it translates to roughly 300 lumens. Far short of the 500 lumens the manufacturer claims, but still plenty bright. Alright, so this flashlight is on candlelight mode. As you can see, it is actually on, but the camera is not picking up much. So let's cycle through. We're getting into low mode, medium, and high. And in high mode we can see that there is a hotspot, though it is very gradual into the flood. I would estimate about a 5.5 foot wide hotspot, and we're looking at this door, which is about 3 feet wide and about 11 feet away. And this is the signal mode. And that is the UV mode. Alright, we're going to test out this keychain light, and we have it on high mode here, and I can easily make out the avocado tree 15 feet away. And it does illuminate to a degree the pine tree up the hill there 60 feet away, but it just doesn't have enough throw. The beam's too broad, too floody to really adequately reach out to that telephone pole 120 feet away. You can kind of make it out there in the video here, but it's really not that strong of illumination. In fact, you could see it much more clearly from the street lights here with the flashlight turned off. So with the flashlight turned on, we're really not adding much, are we? Industry standard drop tests are from 1 meter or 3 feet. I'm going to drop it from 6 feet twice onto rocks and dirt, so we'll see if it still works.
So for our next test, we're going to combine both a runtime test and a waterproof test. I completely recharged the flashlight overnight before starting this test, and I'm just making sure that it is on its brightest mode. Now, the manufacturer claims that this is IPX8 rated, which means it can survive complete submersion in water of depths of up to 3 meters or 9 feet. But for practical purposes, we're just going to show you in this pitcher of water. Now for fun and for comparison, we're going to be running the Jetbeam against a Monstrum Tracer 1000 lumen EDC light next to the timer here. And we're going to look at it in time lapse, because otherwise we'd be here all day. Well, not literally all day, probably an hour, maybe more. Well, we'll see. At 30 minutes, it beat the Tracer, and it's still going strong at 100 minutes, which is quite impressive. So my time-lapse camera actually ran out of power somewhere around 156 minutes. So, because this thing cycled at 99, so yeah, a little bit over the 150-minute timeline here. So, and it's still running, as you can see, albeit at very low power. So these machines, these flashlights, sometimes they will just cycle down to a lower power setting, either by temperature or by current. So certainly not high anymore, but it is still remarkable that it is still running. So anyway, it certainly runs for quite a while. Let's see how well it resisted. Okay. Still works. Well, as it turns out, the battery was so depleted that the unit wouldn't turn on again. No. It is blinking red to indicate a low battery status. But after recharging it overnight, it was working fine. Alright, so I've had this on my keys for the last couple of weeks, and now I've had a good sense of how well this works. So I can give you some good feedback on it. But before I get into that, I'd just like to ask you to please hit the like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell right now. It just takes a second to tap that little thumbs up button. But you're making an outsized influence on the algorithm by doing that. This is a small channel. As of filming this video and editing it, I've got less than 2,000 subscribers. It's not like one of these big gadget channels that has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And the way this AI algorithm works is that the more popular a video is, the more likes it has, the more likely the algorithm will recommend this video to other folks who haven't seen it. And frankly, I'm actually surprised that you found this video and are watching it, because this is such a small channel. But I appreciate that, and a real easy way and a free way, absolutely doesn't cost you anything, to help support this channel is by simply hitting the like and subscribe button. So thanks again if you have already. Now, this Jetbeam light, well, there's a lot I like about it. There's a couple of things that I think are cons about it, but let's start with the positives here. It is a bright light. It is very well built. I love the fact that this is just a single piece of milled aluminum as the body here. And it just feels really nicely built. I love the fact that it is USB charged, USB-C, mind you. So I can use the same charging cable that I use for my phone, and almost all smartphones nowadays are run off of USB-C. It is a great standard, and I can charge it through my car, phone charger, anywhere, and not have to worry about some sort of proprietary charging cable on that. And it is easy to activate, perhaps too easy. And I guess I can get into the cons about this. One time, and only one time, but maybe one time is too many for some folks out there, I took this out of my pocket and it was already on. And that's because this turns on with a single tap. So, and so all it took was either just some way that the keys or whatever were in my pocket, or maybe I leaned against something, or sometimes if you just sit down and your pants are tight enough, it can press and activate things. I've accidentally turned on the panic alarm on my car more than once, just reaching down to pull out something out of the trunk. It's annoying. Anyway, I didn't have I didn't have any other incidents of an accidental activation except for that one time. But again, maybe one time is too many. One thing that they could have done to fix that is by making the activation a double tap instead of a single tap, because that will drastically reduce the chances of an accidental activation when you do a double tap. Currently, if you double tap it, you turn on the signal light on the side, but they could have made that a triple tap. And granted, the current triple tap will turn on the UV light here, but then again, they could have made that a quadruple tap or made the UV light part of the side signal light. I don't know. Maybe they can. They could have easily done that programmatically, you know, with just reprogramming the chip. I don't know how easy that is. I would think it's kind of easy, but I'm not an electrical engineer or a product designer. But, you know, if you happen to know how easy or difficult that would be to scale, please leave me a comment. Let me know. You might know better than I about that. One other thing I do like about this is that it does have a UV light. For those of you who just recently, we had the Girl Scout cookie sales, and my daughter is in the Girl Scouts. So one of the things that we check for in some of the currency that we get, you know, selling cookies, is whether or not it's a counterfeit. If it looks kind of sus, the $20 bill. New currency that's coming out now has a UV strip embedded into it, so you can use this UV light to check your currency. So that's great. If you you know, run a cash retail business, having a UV light is actually useful, very useful in fact. I also like the fact that this has memory. It remembers the last mode you have it turned on, especially if you do a lot of work, let's say on your car, or do a lot of close-up work. Having it on low mode is much preferable than having it start off on high mode, because if you are looking for something in your under your car, you can blind yourself very easily if you had this on high mode. So yeah, I appreciate that. So there's a lot of things I like about this, and in fact, I will probably keep this on my keychain for the foreseeable future. So if you're interested in picking up one of these Jetbeams, I've included a product link that you can purchase on my website at moondogindustries.com. There's a link to that article, that review article, in this video description. So please use the link to purchase this product. I get a tiny commission when you do make that purchase, and it doesn't cost you anything more than buying it through that link as it does not using that link. So yeah, help a small creator out here. Anyway, I hope again that you enjoyed this video and it was helpful for you, and if it was, please let me know in the comments. All right, you be safe out there. Moondog out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.